All right, good morning. Thank you for coming along. So my 7 ways to grow your business seminar. If you get something out of it, just find my mouse here. There it is. So just a bit of housekeeping to start. If you're not so familiar with Zoom, got your audio settings down the bottom to check your speakers. I'll have everyone muted, obviously. If you've got an issue at any point, just raise your hand or pop a thing in the Q&A, and hopefully I'll get an alert. Otherwise, let's get cracking. So thank you for making the time to hang out with me this morning. Just a quick set of words to set us off. So if you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done. So this was written about 230 years ago, and it's pretty true today as it was then. So the session is about challenging you to do something different in your business so you can get the results you've never achieved, which is what we all want, really. So just before we get stuck in, just a little disclaimer. Obviously, the webinar's general in nature, so not a substitute for any tailored advice specific to your circumstances. So one of the biggest problems in small businesses is FTI, or failure to implement. So if you don't write your action down, you won't remember them. Just like if you don't write down your business goal for the next year, you'll be far less likely to achieve them. We want you to get the most value from this webinar. So if you have any questions, just submit them in the Q&A at any time. So on the agenda today is we'll cover how you need to make the choice to change and how to develop a roadmap and dashboard for your business. We'll then get into the 7 ways to grow your business, and I'll show you a worked example which demonstrates how you can make seemingly small changes or adjustments to your business. The compound effect can be quite significant on your bottom line and cash flow. Then some accountability. You have to decide what action you're going to take as a result of today. And yeah, as I said, if you have any questions, just pop them into the Q&A as we go, and we'll go through them at the end. Also might be a good idea to grab a notepad now if you don't have anything handy, just in case you want to take some notes or a brilliant action comes to you while we're going through. Just double check and see if anyone else has popped in. I don't want to miss anyone. Cool. All righty. So honestly, the last few years have been pretty challenging, to say the least. And you've likely had to make some changes in your business or in your personal life just to keep up and adjust. Obviously, change doesn't happen on its own. You have to make the choice to change. And you're totally in control of how you respond to changes around you. So 5 steps to the process of change. So the first is awareness. So basically that you need to be aware that you need to change. It's unlikely that you've been able to continue as you were. So you need to make those changes. The next step is to accept that you need to change. And that may be one of the hardest parts. But the alternative of not changing won't be easy either. Now you've accepted that change is needed. You need to take action. What steps you need to take to enable the change? This is where a lot of people get stuck. You may be able to immediately respond in crisis mode, but it's those long-lasting actions that make the big difference. And then, so to make sure you do take action, you need some accountability. So being held accountable by someone independent really does help make things happen. And finally, you take the time to acknowledge the change. Take the team on the journey and give positive reinforcement. So don't just rest on your laurels once you make the change. You need to celebrate changes and wins. So if you wanted to travel to Auckland, say, which direction would you travel? So for me, in Omakaroa, I would travel northwest. That's obviously different for everyone. You can't answer that question unless you know where you are now. So that's your point A. So what does point A in your business look like now? For example, you may have a 50K overdraft and you want to have 50K in the bank in 12 months. So your journey from A to B is to increase your cash by how much? 100K? Cool. So keeping that in mind, what is it you want to achieve this year? Remember that your business is there to serve you, not the other way around. What do you want to have? So ideal hours of work, holidays, cash flow, that's spa pool in the backyard, whatever it is that you've been planning on splashing some cash on. How are you going to get it? So now you need to think about where you are in terms of how many hours you normally work, how many holidays have you had in the last year, how much profit are you making, how much cash are you taking. So you need to know these things before you can develop your roadmap to where you want to be. So now you know where you are and you know where you want to go, you need to revise your plan. This could be reviewing and updating your existing business plan, creating a business plan if you don't have one, as I know some people don't, or depending on the impact of the last few years on your business, it may be a business recovery plan that you need. So if you've had your business is pretty lowly impacted by COVID and all the craziness, it may be just an update to your business plan or creating a business plan. That might be the best option. If you've had some significant impacts, it may be a business recovery plan. So that will help you revise your personal budget, reduce the pressure on your business's cash flow, and determine whether you need any additional finance. Review your business budget and break even. As part of both of those, you'll also establish your most critical KPIs or key performance indicators to help you monitor your changes, and you'll also identify the opportunities, vulnerabilities, and critical challenges in your business at the time. We need to identify the risks and some mitigation strategies, then set an annual 90-day goals to ensure you achieve them. So as an example, in your budget, getting from A to B. So you need to start with the profit you need your business to deliver to you, and then work your way up to determine the required sales level. For example, in the past, 150K might have been your target profit that for your business to deliver what you want. So that might have been your living, what you wanted to live in the way that you want. Recently, you might have gone, oh, I actually don't need that much. I can't quite travel as easily, or I just stick to local travel. It doesn't cost so much. So you may be able to live on less. So maybe your new profit is 130K. So that reduces a bit of pressure on your business. So overheads before were 350, but you've managed to review all your expenses, negotiate some better deals, and now they're 325. So this gives us a gross profit target of 455K, down from 500. So say we'll keep the gross profit percentage at 39%. We would need to achieve, whoopsie, sorry, too far. Need to achieve sales of 1.1 million, easier to say, down from 1.2, 1.3. So obviously this is very high level. So you'd need to break it down into more detail. So break down the overheads, break down the cost of goods sold, put in some monthly targets, and then track against those to make sure you're going to achieve your goals. So now you know where you're going and what you want to achieve. We need to set up that dashboard. So the dashboard on your car shows you how fast you're going, how much fuel you have left, and the temperature of your engine. Gives you an indication about whether you'll get to your destination or not. It's the same in the business. Things on your business's dashboard are your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Essentially, they're measures which tell you if you're on track to achieving your plan. Your dashboard should show the 4 or 5 measures which drive most of your business improvement. Focusing on a small number of KPIs allows you to capture, monitor, and report and improve them on a regular basis. Your most important KPIs will depend on the type of businesses you have, as well as your goals. So a couple of examples. So a manufacturer, their most important KPIs may be your gross profit percentage, your cost of rework, your work in progress days, so how long it takes to make the product, the widget or whatever it was, your debtor days, how long it takes for someone to pay you. A retailer might have sales. It's a pretty obvious one. Gross profit percentage, your average client spend, and your transaction frequency. So it's important to determine which KPIs work for your business. Set some goals for improving them and establishing a dashboard to regularly monitor how you're progressing. So when you set your goals, do you have someone to hold you accountable for what you committed to? What are the consequences for you if you don't achieve your goals? Do you have a soft coach or a hard coach? If you're going to the gym, do you work out more when you are just by yourself, just doing your own thing, setting your own plan with no one there to yell at you? Or do you work out better and achieve much better, faster results if you have someone like a personal trainer standing over you, making sure you put that little bit of extra weight on or do that extra 5 minutes on the treadmill? So remembering the 5 A's of change, one of them was accountability. You simply must have someone independent hold you accountable to your actions. And there should be some consequences for inaction, measurable consequences, not just, oh, that didn't happen, it doesn't really matter. So generally having your spouse or your best mate hold you accountable doesn't really work. It needs to be someone independent. So to summarize that little section, your business is the vehicle that delivers you to what you want. The top 4 things you need to do to make sure you get to your destination are: set an annual plan, set an annual budget, set and measure your 4 to 5 set and measure your 4 to 5 most important KPIs. Have someone independent, have someone independent hold you accountable to your plan. Okay. You will get a recording of these, so you don't necessarily need to write them down, but it might be an idea. Cool. Before we get started on the 7 ways, just a concept to run through. The marketing flywheel shows you how to attract, engage, and delight your customers. It demonstrates that you shouldn't just focus on gaining new customers, but you should focus on delighting your current customers. First, we have strangers. So people who haven't heard about your business, just any Joe Blow off the street. So we can do some marketing to introduce our business to these strangers, and they will then become prospects. And those prospects make a purchase, they become customers. And if we treat them right and delight them, they will become promoters. The more promoters we have, the more people we have to speak to strangers about our business. So the cycle continues. So in order to attract prospects to our business, we need to provide value before we extract value. So think about what they'll get from doing business with you and problems you can solve. So to convert prospects into customers, we must engage them by making it as easy as possible for them to buy from us. Our marketing is what attracts and engages prospects and turns them into customers. So our sales process should ensure customers continue to be engaged in our follow-up with really good service. So this is the delighting part. Delighted customers will share their feedback with strangers, creating more prospects, customers, and promoters. The level of service we provide determines how we delight and attract current and future customers. So the aim is to keep the marketing flywheel spinning as fast as possible, converting more strangers into prospects into customers, and providing such good service that those customers become promoters. Following this process is essential to growing any business, and it applies to any business. So into the 7 ways. First way to grow your business is to increase your customer retention rate. It is much, much cheaper to make sales to existing customers than it is to attract new customers. In fact, it's 6 times easier and cheaper to make sales to those existing customers. So by delighting our customers, we make them want to return, increasing our customer retention rate. So have a think, what do you do to delight your customers? So if you follow the FGG principle to delight your customers, find out what they want, go get it, and give it to them. It's pretty straightforward. It makes perfect sense when you think about it. So the second way to grow your business is to generate more leads. So the best way to generate more leads is to delight your customers. So we've got quite a theme going on here. So they become promoters and provide you with more leads. So your customers are your best promoters. So as long as you're retaining them and keeping them happy, your business will continue to grow. You can't purely rely on them though. So you do need to do some marketing to attract those strangers and grow that marketing flywheel. It could be something like a free download or a free consultation, free trial, something like that. Basically, show them a problem you're going to solve if they engage with you. The third way to grow your business is to increase your conversion rate. So that's how many of those leads you convert into customers. Do you have a way to measure that? It's a good idea to have some measures in place so you can understand how many leads you are converting to customers, and if not, why not? So a regular review of why you aren't converting more. So if you had a sales team, be a good idea to measure the conversion rate for each of the sales people. And if some are better than others, then it might be worth a why, and how can we apply those processes to the other salespeople. So a key to successfully converting sales is also to ensure you're dealing with the decision maker. So try to avoid the gatekeepers, go straight to the person who can make the decisions, and potentially offering a range of options. So they're asking which one should I buy rather than should I buy. Fourth way to grow your business is to increase transaction frequency. As I said, much easier to sell to new customers than it is to sell to existing customers. So it makes sense to encourage those customers to buy more often. So reminders, VIP cards, special deals for existing customers, things like that. Fifth way to grow your business is to increase the transaction value. Doesn't necessarily mean increasing prices. So how can you add more value to your customers? Could you provide them with a range of options? Is it clear what your business offers? Don't assume they already know, tell them. So everybody is time poor. They don't necessarily have time to trawl through your website or through your other marketing material and see exactly what you're offering. So tell them what they might need. Follow the would you like fries with that concept and adapt it obviously to your business, because not everyone's selling fries. Try to avoid discounts where you can, just because you don't want to turn into Briscoes where no one shops there unless everything's on sale. So number 6, so that's all around the sales side. The last couple are more around your costs. So reducing your cost of sales or your variable costs. So those are all the costs that directly go into your product. So direct labor, cost of materials, sales commissions. If you're in a service-based business, it might be chargeable hours for your staff, things like that. Or like say a plumber, it may be a piece of pipe, things like that. So implementing better systems to accurately record time and materials used, and reducing rework and wastage will help reduce your variable costs. A lot of service-based businesses don't understand and track the cost of rework, and it may not just be parts that you have to go back and replace, or it's the time, it's the vehicle, it's things like that. So that rework can be a real cost, a profit killer basically. So it's important to be able to measure that. And the final way is to look at your overheads. So reducing your overheads in terms of your fixed costs, the things that don't go up and down as your sales go. So like your phone, your power, your rent, office supplies, all those sorts of things, static costs. So do you review them often? Best practice would be to review at least annually. If you haven't done it, then I suggest doing it. You may be able to change your power supply to get a better deal, or all sorts of things. Review your phone plans and things like that. So you can do this. The best way to identify them is to go through your annual financial statements or your zero reports. You can obviously help with that if you need some help, and have a look through what you can reduce, what you could cut potentially. So you might be able to negotiate better terms or look at a different supplier that'll give you the same thing for a better price. So obviously on this subject, accounting fees, that is an overhead. So I'm telling you to reduce your costs. So if you think that your accounting fees are a cost, then obviously get rid of it. Obviously you need some sort, because you still need to do your taxes. But basically, if you want to work with us as a strategic partner in your business, then you need us more now more than ever. So I'd like you to see accounting fees as an investment in terms of saving you tax, helping you grow your business, and basically outstripping any accounting fees that you pay with all those savings or growth. So the growth equation, so this is a worked example of how those small changes can make such a big difference. By monitoring your KPIs, you can set some goals around these. Calculator basically shows you how the 7 ways works and applies. So I've just used screenshots for this. It does come in an Excel format that you can play with the numbers. And if you want to do that for your business, then drop me a line and we can run through it. So this is an example company. It's a manufacturing company, so it's got overheads and cost of goods sold and things like that. So and I've also rounded off the numbers, so don't try to calculate them in your head. So this company has 765 customers. Its retention rate is 85%, so that means over a set period of time, it retains 85% of those 765 customers. So that means it's got 650 retained customers at the end of that period. They received 145 inquiries in that same time period, and they converted 50% of them. So they acquired 73 new customers, bringing their total customers to 723. So each customer makes an average of 1.1 transaction per year. The transaction value is $1,560. So their annual sales are 1.24 million. Cost of goods sold is 70%, and overhead expenses are 265. So we end up with a net profit of 107,000. And we've used a very basic ×3 of net profit calculator to value the business. Obviously, if we were to do a business valuation, that would be a lot more detailed. This is just a very rough guide. So the current value of the business is 321,000. So let's see what happens when we make a few small changes. So we want to improve the profit and the value. So the first way to grow your business is to increase your customer retention rate. So let's say this business implements a customer loyalty program and creates a customer Facebook group. So basically a little support group. This results in an increase in their retention rate from 85 to 90%. They now retain an additional 39 customers. So they've grown from 650 to 689. They receive the same number of inquiries, but due to COVID, cost of living, all that drama, they only convert 45% of them now. So they've acquired an additional 65 customers, bringing their total customers to 754. So because of their customer loyalty program and Facebook group, etc., they now have increased their number of transactions per year to 1.3. And the average transaction value has gone up by $40 to $1,600. So that brings their annual sales to 1.567 or 1.568. So they've done a big review of their cost of goods sold, and they've negotiated some better terms with their suppliers, improving their inventory process and the process as they go. Cost of goods sold reduced to 65%. So this means expenses have increased. So this means obviously that impact is less. So their overhead expenses have increased by 35,000. As a result of these changes, they spent a little bit more with their accountant, invested a little bit more with their accountant, and they increased their wages costs. So their overheads have gone up a little bit. So this gives them a new profit of 248,000. So, whoopsie, sorry. Which gives them, and then timesing that by 3 using our basic valuation method, their valuation of their business is now 746,000. So you can see those small changes, their profits more than doubled, and their indicative value has more than doubled. So, sorry. So if you retain more customers, your overheads change, just those small little things, that 0.2% adjustment in transactions, small increase in transaction value, or overall $141,000 extra profit. So obviously this is just an example, and we need to work through your numbers specifically, but yeah, small changes, big impact. So Albert Einstein famously said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and again and expecting different results. So everybody's heard that multiple times in multiple scenarios. So what are you going to do differently this year? How are you going to change your results? So there's 4 choices. There's always 4 choices. So do nothing. So just sort of wander off at the end of this and say, oh, that was a nice webinar. Yeah, probably should do something differently, but seems a bit hard, so nothing happens, nothing changes. You could retweet, which is, yeah, I might try a couple of things, but then you have a couple of bad days. So you retreat, end up, back to where you started or worse. You could take normal amounts of action, which is basically, yeah, I'll do a few things here and there, get some quick cash flow improvement, haven't really fundamentally changed anything. So those quick wins evaporate along with the quick cash pretty quickly. Or you could take massive amounts of action, which is basically, I want to fundamentally change my business because it's here to serve me and not the other way around. So as the old saying goes, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. But does that still apply? I don't know that it does anymore. It may be that if you do what you've always done, you'll get less than what you always got, what you used to get. So obviously that's not an ideal scenario for anyone. Nobody wants to go backwards. So how can we help? So we mentioned business plans. We can help you deliver a business plan. We can deliver you a business plan. So it's basically a half-day session. Sit down, identify your purpose, your values, your strengths, weaknesses, any opportunities, set some goals, set some budget numbers, set some actions, basically give you a bit of a steer in the right direction. And following on from that is that accountability piece that I mentioned is so critical. So that would be meeting up quarterly, reviewing the business plan, going over your action items, reviewing what went wrong, what went right, checking the numbers against your budget, and basically setting some more action items for the next quarter. We're also offering an opportunity to complete a 7 ways to grow your business action list. So this basically will allow you to identify the actions you can take to grow your business. And once you've done that, we'll do a 15-minute chat, complimentary chat, to review your action items and ensure you've identified everything relevant for you, and that you have a plan in place to implement those. And we offer a 1-hour complimentary meeting to go over where you're at, set some goals for where you're going. And yeah, so that's a complimentary meeting each year. If you're not a client yet, then we do a 1-hour initial meeting to get to know each other and make sure we're going to be the right fit. And as I said at the start, the webinar is fairly generic in terms of advice. So if you need some more tailored or specific advice, then those are the ways we can help. Any questions? I'll just find where my mouse is. So thanks, Zoe. You mentioned retailers and manufacturers. What measures are good for a service provider to track? So that could be profitability in terms of billable hours, in terms of billable hours versus non-billable hours for a service business that bills obviously on an hourly rate. Sales, obviously, value of customers. So, average spend is a good one for that. There's a few different ones that are obviously fairly specific to the industry, but yeah, there's definitely KPIs for every industry. And also I can see I need to grow in a few areas. Where do you suggest I start? So a business plan is the best place to start. So I found lately a lot of people are very, I guess, scattered in their direction. They don't quite know what direction to go. Everybody's sort of reevaluating their business at the moment. So a business plan is a great place to start to set you on a track. And it's just a matter of delving down into what you really want to do, where you can make the money that you want. Yeah, it's just setting those directions. That's probably the best place to start. Any other questions? Rightio. So just a quick parting thought. So success is neither magical nor mysterious. Success is the natural consequence of consistently applying basic fundamentals. So make a plan, commit to at least 3 actions you'll take as a result of today's webinar. Write them down, set a date, a due date, make someone responsible for them, whether that's you or someone else in your business. Basically give them an owner, and hold that person accountable. If you can't, give me a call. And remember, if you need our support, we are here. So thank you very much for making the time to come along today. Obviously, your time is very valuable, so we're very grateful for you for coming along. We'll send out a brief survey after this, so that just gets a bit of feedback and gives us any ideas for any future webinars. And as part of that, I'd like you to write down your 3 action items so I can hold you accountable. Basically, make sure you're following through with what you think you're going to do. So I hope we've given you plenty of ideas to think about and some clear next steps for your business. Thank you very much. Have a great day.